What's up, beautiful people, and welcome back to the channel. Before we get into this, please make sure you subscribe. If you're new here, my name is Izzy and I'm a journalist, and I make videos here on YouTube where I visit different animal shelters. I speak to them about the work they do, but also raising awareness on different topics and issues, and speaking about the challenges that they face day to day. I also speak to different charities and organisations about how they help animals change people's lives. This can be from hearing dogs to guide dogs to animal assisted therapy. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this, and let's find out where we are off to today. Right, so today I'm off to Bella and Brave Animal Sanctuary. Now their primary focus is sheep and goats, so they rescue tons of sheep and goats that have been given to them as unwanted pets. It's really interesting because I've not been to a shelter that primarily focuses on those animals. I've been to ones that focus on a little bit of both, so domestic pets like cats and dogs, as well as farm animals, but I've not been to one that purely focuses on that. So I'm really interested to find out the sort of different topics and issues they want to raise awareness on when it comes to those animals, and find out a little bit more where it all started. It was set up by a lovely lady called Alison, so I'm going to find out a little bit more about her story, as well as one of the animals that's there as well, and how they ended up there, and whether their story is sort of a pattern and happens a lot, sort of why people give up sheep and goats as pets. So yeah, let's head there now and find out a little bit more. So I've arrived at Bella and Brave Animal Sanctuary, and this is Boris, and we're going to find out a little bit more about his story, as well as the work they do and what they stand for. So tell me all about where the shelter all started.
It snowballed out of nowhere, basically. I used to have a horse, and the place where I had the horse, they had some sheep. They had a particular breed called Soe, which is a really sort of ancient breed. They're very easy to deal with. You don't have to do much maintenance to them at all, and they look after themselves. So they got those sheep just to maintain the land and eat the weeds down, so on. So they weren't interested in the sheep, they had them just to maintain the horses' field. Now, the owner of them got very ill, and when he died, I asked his wife, I said, "You're not really interested in keeping these sheep, are you?" She said, "No, just want rid of them." I said, "Do you want me to take them on?" And she snapped my hand off. So it sort of all started from there. And I didn't know anything about looking after sheep, so I just sort of made it up as I go along, and every time something happened, I'd be looking up and trying to find out as much as I can about it. And it all sort of snowballed from there. One day we were at a barbecue with a friend, and one of my friends said to me, "Should we start a sanctuary?" And I just went, "Yeah, go on." So we did. She then moved to Anglesey and left me to it. But yeah, so then we ended up having to move that field, and we went on to a different one. And then shortly after we arrived there, someone alerted me to this post on Facebook. Someone had advertised these 2 goats. He said, "Someone take them, I'm going to shoot them." So I was like, wow, I'll take them and I'll work out how to look after goats. So I did. And then from there on, it just got more and more, and lots of people were looking to rehome sheep and goats, and we ended up taking them on. We moved field again, and we've got this 3-acre field now with 14 goats and 18 sheep.
And what is the main ethos here and what you stand for?
So everything we do is based on vegan principles. That's our main ethos, and everything we do I make sure fits into that. The main priority is the animals. I do everything for them. If we can introduce them to the public, then we do that, but that always comes secondary. It's always the animals first. So we have a 3-acre field. It's just one big open field. The animals roam it as they want. So we don't pen them separately. We have some that need special medical attention that are separate at the moment, but generally they just go where they want. They have loads of different shelters, so they can go in a different part of the field, they can go with their friends, they can avoid someone if they want to. So it's all about them, really. I don't have them penned, so I handle them every day. All the medical checks, mostly it's really done with observation. If I need to catch them to check someone over, it's harder work. It is, because naturally goats and sheep are wary of people. So if I need to catch them, they are wary of me, even though I'm the one that feeds them. They also know me as the one that does all the feet trimming and injections and things, so they don't like me, and that's fine, because they're not meant to, really. I'm just here to make sure that they live as natural a life as possible. So yeah, everything we do, it's all around the animals. And from the vegan point of view, I hope people will come and see the animals and realise that they do have a purpose, and that purpose doesn't need to be for our gain. So people say, like, when people say if we didn't eat sheep there wouldn't be any sheep, well, we have them here and they're just living their life, and that's fine, and they're just getting on with it, and it's nice for us to see it, and they're enjoying their lives with their friends and doing what sheep do and so on. And I'm hoping that people will make that connection when they come. I know it's a very slow way of doing it. We're not in the face with people about that, but I just want to show them that these animals do have value beyond farming.
What are the different topics and issues that you feel like need more awareness when it comes to sheep and goats?
The main thing I would say is keeping them as pets. Most of the animals we've got here are ex-pets. So a lot of people we're finding, and maybe it was a COVID thing, I don't know, same with dogs, but people will think, I've got a big garden, I'm going to get a goat, and then they'll get a goat and then realise the goats actually eat all their plants, or they make a lot of noise and the neighbours don't like it, so then they've got to get rid of it. We've had some where people have rented land for the sheep, and then the land's being sold on, so they've nowhere to keep them, and they end up with us. And I can see why people like having them as pets. They are cute. I love them. I think they're really gorgeous. A lot of people get them as babies, and then they're really cute. And they jump around on trampolines and things, and they do all this fun stuff. But then they get to 12 months old, and they're not as much fun, and people lose interest. So it gets to the point they need to rehome them. And what do you do when you need to rehome sheep and goats? So that's where they come to me. I can't take them all on. I'm always having to reject them all the time. I tend to keep the older ones on. But yeah, they're not something you can just keep on a whim. That's the main problem we have with it. And as I said, the other main thing that I hope the issue we raise with this sanctuary is veganism, and being able to value the animals for themselves and not for how we can use them and what we can get out of it.
And finally, what are your hopes for the future here at the shelter?
If there are any. You know what, I don't know. I always started off wanting to expand and have an on-site cafe where people could come and have some vegan tea and cake and just sit and watch the animals and just enjoy the area. It's ended up the field we're on now. We're by this pub, and they'll offer food and drinks there, and that works really well for us. So I love where we are at the moment. If anything, I think the next step for us would be to have a second site, because I like that this is a small sanctuary and it's a local sanctuary. So like there are some really big, fantastic sanctuaries like Hillside and the Retreat down in Kent, and they're amazing. For me to go and see those, that's a holiday. You know, I've got to take a weekend away to go and see them. I would love it if everyone had access to their local animal sanctuary where they can just go and spend half an hour or an hour there. So I'd love it if we could have other places where a bit further away, so we can be more accessible to more people.
So who do we have here then?
So this is Boris. Come here, Boris. Boris is quite an old boy now. I lose count on the age, but I think he's probably 8, 9, maybe 10. The reason he's in here eating this special food at the moment is because he's lost some of his back teeth. And we often see him going round with a lot of hay in his mouth because he can't chew it enough to be able to swallow it. So he's always chewing constantly to get something down. So we give him this extra food as well, which is easier for him to eat, and hopefully that'll help him put a bit of weight on. So I've had him. He's one of the first goats I got. There was him and Jester that came together, and they were the ones that were first put on Facebook by someone who said, someone take them or I'll shoot them. So we just said, well, we're not having that happen, we'll take him on. So he came here, and he's the goat I learned how to look after goats on, basically. And he's absolutely fabulous. We love him. He's really friendly. He just gets on with whatever he wants. He shoves the other goats out of the way if he doesn't want them there. He's a real character.